Wow. Okay, y'all bear with me one more second. Let me try to restart the Facebook thing. What's going on tonight? Somebody bear with me on the regular recording, please. There we go. Now we're live on Facebook, I believe.
And my thing says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Okay, we're good to go then. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to start a new paper, paper 42, Energy, Mind, and Matter. And we hope you don't mind. It's matter. Couldn't resist.
Mind it don't matter.
Yeah, if you mind, it doesn't matter, right? Okay, so let's say a little prayer and we'll get started for the night. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight that we might share this wonderful revelation with everyone. Pray you'll open our hearts and minds that we might learn a little bit, share it with others, and do your will in our life. We say this in the name of your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
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 Okay. Does anybody see? I don't see anybody's picture. I don't see the menu for anything. Y'all bear with me a second. I'm having a technical difficulty here. I don't see my menu at all. So I can't even, I hate to say this, y'all, but I'm going to have to restart everybody. I am not, I have no controls. There we go. Okay, that's why I have no controls. Okay, let me share my screen again. Well, technical difficulty there. That's better. All right. And I hope we're recording. We won't know until it's all over, right? Looks like we're live on Facebook, if nothing else. Okay, now let me find everybody's pictures up there. Okay, I think we're good to go. Diane. Oops, I hit the wrong one there. Diane, would you
Okay. Paper 42, Energy, Mind, and Matter. The foundation of the universe is material in the sense that energy is the basis of all existence, and pure energy is controlled by the universal Father. Force energy is the one thing which stands as an everlasting monument, demonstrating and proving the existence and presence of the universal absolute. This vast stream of energy proceeding from the paradise presences has never lapsed, never failed. There has never been a break in the infinite upholding.
okay. Whole paper is difficult for most people to understand because it's very technical. I'm gonna warn y'all ahead of time. If I get over everybody's head too badly, stop me and ask questions, please. Okay? Because it's an important paper. First of all, let's talk. Yeah, it's very important actually. It starts out the very first paragraph of this paper talking about how the universal Father is the basis for all existence. All things exist within God the Father. And it mentions here the universal absolute. And I brought up a picture of what the universal absolute, where it fits in from the forward. This is from the forward when I taught the forward years ago, or however long it was ago. remember, if you were with us then, when I talked forward, I talked about the 7 absolutes. Okay. There are 7 absolutes in all the creation. Okay. The first one is God the Father. The second one is the original Son, God the Son. Third is the conjoint actor or the infinite spirit. The fourth is paradise. The fifth is the qualified absolute. The sixth, the universal absolute. And 7, the unqualified absolute. It's very important to understand the 7 absolutes cannot exist without what? The universal Father. Because all 7 of the absolutes are encompassed by the being of God the Father. So when you talk about the absolute, you're talking about a piece of God the Father. When you talk about paradise, you're talking about what? A piece of God the Father. All creation, all things, both physical, Urantia, and spiritual, exist within the personhood of God the Father, the universal Father. Okay, and that's why it's so important. Now, they mentioned the universal absolute in the very first paragraph of this, and this is why I wanted to show you the picture. You'll notice that the universal absolute is the center one down here. You see my little mouse moving?
Yep.
Center one at the bottom of this picture. Yeah, Gary, go ahead.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be better visually if the blue background was the universal Father?
You could do that, Gary. It would be
Hmm.
correct. It really would be.
That's
But
I'm just so we have a truer picture.
well, but
All
the
of these
problem with
things are
that
contained
is
within God,
they're
the
contained
universal
within
Father.
God. But the reason the picture is shown this way is because the original thought or the original being, the original absolute, if you would, is the personality of the universal Father himself, and that is separate from the other beings. And that's why they show it this way. Okay. So the personality of God the Father is separate from the original Son. Okay. And the personality of the original Son is separate from the conjoint actor. Right. So God's first expression was the original Son, right? Together, the first action of the two was the conjoint actor, and at the same time, the manifestation of the action, the nuclear isle of paradise, appeared. Okay. Now, these 3 absolutes at the beginning, we have no beginning and end. We have no time for them to start. They give us the concept that the Son came from the Father and the conjoint actor came from the Son and the Father. But these 3 absolutes apparently were in place always since the beginning of everything. Okay. And the reason this is important because one is a deified absolute, which was number 5, the qualified absolute. And this is the spiritual absolute. Remember the three types of reality? We have the material, we have the Urantia, and we have the spiritual. We also have the transcendental, and that transcends both the material and the spiritual. Okay. So this is the revealed spiritual absolute. Then we have the unqualified absolute, which we're going to talk a lot about tonight. Okay. The unqualified absolute is the unrevealed physical absolute. All things physical come from this unqualified absolute. Okay. Along with the conjoint actor. But the reason I want to mention this is they start out talking about the universal absolute, and this absolute is what they call the associative resolving absolute. And what does that mean? It means it associates both the qualified absolute or the spiritual absolute with the unqualified absolute or the physical absolute. It brings these two together and resolves them so that they can come together in reality. Okay, so that's why it's the universal absolute or the associative absolute. Okay, so let's go back to our paper here. Almost went to the wrong thing here. Okay, so it says here, all existences and pure energy is controlled by the universal Father. Force, energy is the one thing that stands out as a everlasting monument and prove the existence, get this, and the presence of the universal absolute. And that's what we just talked about, the universal absolute. So because God the Father is the force and energy of everything, that proves that there exists a universal absolute that brings all these things together through God the Father. Make sense? See how this is difficult? It's not an easy paper. All right. Then it says the vast stream of energy proceeding from paradise presence has never lapsed, never failed. There's never been a break of the infinite upholding of everything. They're talking about God the Father. So God the Father has always existed, always will be, and paradise is the manifestation of the living stream of energy from God the Father forever. Paradise is going on forever and it will never stop. Make sense? Pretty complicated first paragraph, isn't it? Any other questions before we move on to the next complicated paragraph? All right. Number 2, Rodney, would you take the next one?
Yes. The manipulation of universe energy is ever in accordance with the personal will and the all-wise mandates of the Universal Father. This personal control of manifested power and circulating energy is modified by the coordinate acts and decisions of the Eternal Son, as well as by the united purposes of the Son and the Father executed by the conjoint actor. These divine beings act personally and as individuals. They also function in the persons and powers of an almost unlimited number of subordinates, each variously expressive of the eternal and divine purpose in the universe of universes. But these functional and provisional modifications or transmutations of divine power in no way lessen the truth of the statement that all force energy is under the ultimate control of a personal God resident at the center of all things.
Okay. You want to know why the forward is like it is? This kind of paragraph is why the forward is like it is. It's an explanation of the things that come in the book. Okay. And I'm going to show you how this works with that one picture we just went to. First of all, it mentions that everything that happens in the universe is accordance to the personal will of the all-wise mandates of the universal Father. It's the will of the Father that all things happen. That's just the way it is, right? And it's his all-wise mandates. Then it goes on to tell us that this is manifest, this power and energy is manifested by the acts of the eternal Son. Let's go back to this picture. So look at this picture here. It talks about the universal Father as the thought, number 1, right? What's the thought? The thought is the will of God, right? Because God had a thought, the Son came into being, right? So God's thought was expressed through the Son. See this expression? Okay, that's the second part of this, right? It says, All energy is modified in coordinate acts of the decisions of the eternal Son, right? And then executed by the conjoint actor, right? All right. Two James. All right. So it's executed by the conjoint actor. So let's go back to this picture. So what does the conjoint actor do here? It says action, right? So God's the thought. The original Son is the expression, and then the conjoint actor is the action, and part of that action creates the manifestation of paradise. You see that?
Yes.
So later on tonight, we're going to see how this unqualified absolute comes in here to this same process. Okay, so because of the will of God, the power and the energy of the universe is modified and coordinated by the acts and decisions of the eternal Son. So it's the eternal Son that makes the decisions on what is to be done with the power, right? And the energy. And that's taken up by all his many subordinates throughout all the universes, right? And we're going to talk about them too in a minute. But it's all under the divine and eternal purpose of God the Father. It's God's will that all these things happen, right? So the very last statement in this paragraph is the divine, it says the transmutations of the divine power, all the things that's going on, in no way lessens the truth of the statement that force energy, all force and all energy throughout all the universe is under the ultimate control of whom? God. Yeah, all things, right? So we all live and have our existence in whom? God.
Father.
Yeah. None of us could live. None of the power would go out to anything. None of the power directories, mechanical controllers, or anything that keeps the universe going would work unless they were within the boundaries of God the Father. So, if you go around saying there is no God, what are you saying? You're saying you yourself does not exist because you could not exist without the Father.
Correct.
It's the way it works. Not good for atheists, is it? Paradise, forces, and energies. Let's see who's next. Kayla, would you want to read or you want to pass?
Pass, because I don't have the book in front of me. I'm just listening.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank
How about your big old bald brother or daddy up there? Granddaddy, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, paradise forces and energies. The foundation of the universe is material, but the essence of life is spirit. The Father of spirit is also ancestor of universes. The eternal Father of the original Son is also eternal source of the original pattern, the Isle of Paradise.
Okay, so think of it this way. Our universe that we know is mostly material, isn't it? Right? But in essence of life itself is all spirit. So our goal is to go from what? From material to Urantia to spirit. The Urantia is the stop off point or the jump off point for spiritual life. Okay, so we have to start as material. We earn our stars and stripes through going through the Urantia, and eventually we get to the spiritual. And when we hit the spirit life, that's when our real life begins. Okay? That's because the foundation of the universe is spirit. Okay? It's also the eternal Father and the original Son was the source of the Isle of Paradise itself. And why is that important? because God Father and God the Son simultaneously created Isle of Paradise at the same time the conjoint actor was made. All material things in all 7 super universes and all outer space levels are connected through gravity through the Isle of Paradise. So all this material is connected to what? The Isle of Paradise. So you see the connection from material to Urantia to spiritual, right? The 3 levels. And we can't forget the transcendental stuck in there somewhere. Yeah, Gary.
Didn't God the Father create the eternal Son?
Yes, he did.
Okay, I was kind of getting a misinterpretation in that sentence. But yeah, so God the Father created God the Son. The 2 of them created the Isle of Paradise.
And
And
the
all
infinite
energy
spirit.
is directed through the Isle of Paradise.
That's right.
Correction? And the
That's correct.
conjoint actor controls all this energy for God and the Son.
That's exactly right. You got it right on the head. Hit it right on the head. Now, an interesting part is the other 3 absolutes are also involved in this, right? The deity absolute, the universal absolute, and the unqualified absolute. And we're going to see this in pictures coming up. Okay, if I get that far, the rate I'm going. Yeah, Rodney.
Maybe it should also be pointed out that the Isle of Paradise is the original pattern.
That's what they're saying here for everything, right? Which
And that's
is
what the
interesting. Yeah,
creators take that pattern with
they
them.
make the pattern for all the creator sons to copy for their universes, right? So that means what? That everything in all 7 super universes, including the outer space levels, everything in all those universes have a original in paradise. Makes sense?
After it.
Yeah, patterned after it. It also makes sense when they explain to us in the parts on describing paradise, why paradise is larger than all the material and all 7 super universe put together.
Wow.
It's humongous.
Almost, it's mind blowing if you think about it, right?
It is.
So, yeah, I mean, so the Isle of Paradise has more matter in it than all the planets put together, all the space in the planets put together, all the space between the universes and planets put together. So it's bigger than that. So that's a lot of
And
space.
that matter that is not out here.
Yeah. Now think about this. So we know that the 7 Havona rings surrounds paradise, right? And the paradise satellites, right? So if the 7 Havona rings surround paradise, do you have any doubt that there's a billion of the worlds? I mean, it would take that many worlds to surround it, right?
Yeah.
Got it that way. All right. Let's go on. Letch, would you take the next one, please? Matter,
Okay.
energy.
Matter, energy, for they are but diverse manifestations of the same cosmic reality, as a universe phenomenon is inherent in the universal Father. In him all things consist. Matter may appear to manifest inherent energy and to exhibit self-contained powers, but the lines of gravity involved in the energies concerned in all these physical phenomenon are derived from and are dependent on paradise. The automaton, the first measurable form of energy, has paradise as its nucleus.
Okay, so why is this so important? First of all, it tells us that everything consists in God. Everything is in God, encompasses everything, right? And it appears to us that matter or material things has this inherent energy in the ways the nucleuses of the atoms work and all this stuff, but they don't realize that it's not its own self-contained power that makes this happen. Okay. but all things are included in the lines of gravity of paradise. Not only that, they're dependent on paradise, but they're also involved in the local gravity, okay, linear gravity in the planets themselves, okay? And then it goes on to tell us that the automaton is the first measurable form of energy, and all automatons, which encompass every single atom of everything physical, okay? They're in everything. Has its center as paradise, its nucleus as paradise. Okay, so without paradise, the automaton would stop twirling. Okay, and what happens if the automaton stops twirling?
Everything explodes.
Everything collapses. That's right. All energy ceases, and that which keeps the atoms twirling and everything going and making physical manifestation stops. Make sense? Now, you wonder how it states in the Urantia book, if rebellion does not get squashed sooner or later, a creator son is responsible for retrieving his own creation. You remember me talking about that before?
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
How do you think he would do this?
To the
Power
automaton.
down.
The automaton, through the paradise of gravity, right? Since he's a direct connection to the eternal son, he would have to get it authorized through the eternal son, but the eternal son could collapse the magnetic pole of the automaton, and what would happen? The whole local universe would collapse. He would have to start all over again. Right? You wonder, how would they do something like that? That's one of the ways they could do something like that. Make sense? All right. So we made a big leap there, right? All right. Let's go on to the next one. Jane, would you take the next one? There's innate in matter.
There is innate in matter and present in universal space a form of energy not known on Urantia. When this discovery is finally made, then will physicists feel that they have solved almost at least the mystery of matter, and so will they have approached one step nearer the Creator. So will they have mastered one more phase of the divine technique, but in no sense will they have found God. Neither will they have established the existence of matter or the operation of natural laws apart from the cosmic technique of paradise and the motivating purpose of the universal Father.
So even if we discover the other 28 forms of energy on this planet that's out there in the universe, okay, that we don't know anything about, right? We haven't discovered them. Or 27, I think we've discovered 3. But even if we discovered all of these forms of energy, would we have the secret of God?
No.
No, we wouldn't, would we? Because it's the will of God that makes all this stuff keep going, right? We will have established the existence of the natural laws of God, but not the cosmic technique which paradise is involved in and the purpose of the universal Father is controlling, right? So let's talk about something for a second that has come up here lately a whole lot. Do you think artificial intelligence will ever be considered life?
No, how could it?
It can't be, can it? It's
There's-
just programming, right? It's just programming that programmers put in there to respond to stimulus, right? That does not make something alive, right? Who has the power to make things come alive?
the infinite spirit.
The infinite spirit through the local universe mother spirits, right? Without the spark of life, you can put material together till, the end of time, see it move, see it do different things, but that does not make it alive. it does not make it independently what? Conscious, right? Only the infinite spirit through the local universe mother spirits can do that. Okay, I don't
There's
care
no
how
free
smart.
will. No
Huh?
free will in
No free will.
intelligence. Yeah.
That's right. Without that free will, what is it? It's a machine, right? It'll always be a machine, right?
Right.
So, all right. Now, you're saying, Roger, well, these won't take over the world and, kill all the humans and all that stuff. We might program them to do that. Yeah, we could program them to do that. But you think the creator son is going to allow that to go on very long? Not likely, right? He's not going to have anything usurp his sovereignty for any reason, right? So just wanted to bring that up. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Dear, would you take subsequent to even better? Make it-
Subsequent,
Let me get
Okay.
this one.
subsequent to even still greater progress and further discoveries, after Urantia has advanced immeasurably in comparison with present knowledge, though you should gain control of the energy revolutions of the electrical units of matter to the extent of modifying their physical manifestations, even after all such possible progress, forever will scientists be powerless to create one atom of matter or to originate one flash of energy, or ever to add to matter that which we call life.
Why is that?
That's the job of whom? The local universe mother spirit, right? We can imitate creating life, but we can't create conscious life, right? Which we've been doing in the lab, right? I mean, we can create, put cells together and make them look like ears and noses and, all sorts of things, right? But that does not mean it's alive, does it? All right.
Roger?
So you're defining life as the ability, can you hear me?
Yeah.
As the ability to make free will decisions.
Conscious free will decisions, right? To have consciousness, right?
Be conscious of what you're doing and make a conscious decision as is to go left, as to go right, do right or do wrong. Okay, that is what they define as life. The fact that something grows, like an ear grows out of your head by us planting the seed in the earlobe, is not life. It's just manifestation. It's a growth.
Manifestation,
I guess you call it
manufacturing
growth.
material. That's right. That's right. And I always come back to this AI situation because they can make things appear to be living and real, but it's still just programming. It has no will, right? Never will
It's a
have
copy.
the copy, right? Cheap copy at that. Jane, yeah.
Yes,
I
also
feel-
they would never have personality.
They would
There's
have a
never
simulant.
personality.
They would have programming that would simulate personality, Jane.
But not not God the Father given personality.
That's right.
So they could never have a soul. But the other thing is, would it not then all the people involved in creating them and in putting all the decision making and information that they compute in them, wouldn't they automatically become accountable and responsible for according?
I don't see how they could be responsible, and that's what Elon Musk is talking about, how this is so dangerous. Okay, because we can program robots, we can program flying machines, all sorts of stuff to kill people. We do that. We have that capability now, and without proper laws to stop it, it could get really, really dangerous on this planet.
I agree, but that's not, I was addressing something else. I was addressing that to God, to God and to all the systems that God created. The people who create the artificial intelligence and all that ensues from that,
Yeah.
they are the ones, it's as if they themselves are perpetrating the wrong.
They are, and they have to be accountable for that.
That's right. That's right.
You
So
know?
no one gets away with it.
No, in essence, it's a form of rebellion, if you think about
Yes. Yeah.
it. Okay. And
But
Would you
then-
go over that again?
Yeah, it's a form of rebellion because you're going against the will of God. It's not the will of God for human beings to create artificial life like that. All right, that's what I'm saying. When you go against the will of God, what are you doing?
You're messing
Yeah.
up.
Defying him.
Rebellious. You're
You're
rebellious.
rebelling. That's
It
right.
will be just like Lucifer and all those guys.
You guys are geniuses.
So you're saying that basically if a scientist creates a artificial intelligent robot, he's gone against the will of God.
No, I'm not.
Huh?
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Okay,
saying,
straighten me out.
okay, what I'm saying is if you create something like this, trying to make it a replacement for a human being and give it ability to make choices to destroy human life, you're going against God. I have nothing against them creating artificial robots, intelligence, things like that to help humanity. They're doing it right now. They can create limbs for people that's lost limbs and arms and all sorts of stuff. But down to VA, I've seen everything. Okay, you've seen artificial limbs, artificial hands, arms, and these are useful. Some of them can be programmed from the brain to work. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is trying to give an artificial intelligence the ability to destroy or make decisions that destroy human life. And that is against God.
In
What's one
other
of the
words,
main commandments?
you're
Go ahead,
creating
Carla.
something that would go basically kill God's creatures. In other words, you're saying I have the same power God has, therefore I'm going to create something that can take away from what God created.
That's
Perfect.
exactly, you got it, Kate.
Perfect.
Right on the head, right? That's
Also,
what Elon Musk is talking about, right? He's not against artificial intelligence. He's against giving these machines the ability to destroy human life. That's what he's against, right? Go ahead, Kayla. Did you have something else to add to that?
yeah, I also wanted to say how my grandpa was talking about, like, basically life is us having free will. I feel like life is more about the substance of like faith, the substance of faith. Life is about, yes, you have your free will, but your free will is not what creates your life. Your free will is what is supposed to create the faith that you have in our supreme being, which I feel like that is the purpose of this life in order for you to have the privilege to continue to do that.
It's true. That's true. That's well said. It is.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next problem, right? I hate to bring so many problems up in this thing, but if we don't relate this to what's going on in our existence, it has no meaning to us, right? And this way it gives it meaning into what we're doing. Is what I'm trying to do. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Rodney, you're up next. Don't go to sleep on me now.
So you want me to read the next problem?
Yeah, the next problem.
Okay, the creation of energy and the bestowal of life are the prerogatives of the universal Father and his associate creator personalities. The river of energy and life is a continuous outpouring from the deities, the universal and united stream of paradise going forth to all space. This divine energy pervades all creation. The first organizers initiate those changes and institute those modifications of space force, which eventuate in energy. The power directors transmute energy into matter. Thus, the material worlds are born. The life carriers initiate those processes in dead matter, which we call life, material life. The Urantia power supervisors likewise perform throughout the transition realms between the material and the spiritual worlds. The higher spirit creators inaugurate similar processes in divine forms of energy, and there ensue the higher spirit forms of intelligent life.
Okay, this paragraph, if we get through it before the end of we have to quit for tonight, it's going to be a miracle. So let me get right into it. Okay. If you really want to understand, do y'all want to understand this book?
Yes.
You do? Okay. Well, this is what we need to do. We need to break it down so we understand it, right? So let's take it from the first sentence when it talks about the creation of energies and the stellar life are the prerogatives of the universal Father and his associate creator personalities. Who are they talking about? The creator sons, right?
Yeah,
and the local universe mother spirits. So the creation of energy and bestowal of life in these local universes is assigned to the creator sons and the local universe mother spirit, right? That's their arms as part of the sevenfold, okay, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. All right. And this river of energy and life we're talking about, right, continuously pours down from the deities. Who's that? God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit. And they are united in this universal stream of paradise force going forth to all space. What are they talking about? Paradise force going to all space. They're talking about paradise gravity, right? The material world, which all comes from paradise, which we're going to discover later in this paper. And everything that's material, everything that has gravity originates in paradise. Okay?
Right.
All right. And these energies pervade all creation, not just Havona, not just the 7 super universes, but all the outer space levels of being created right now, right? It pervades everything. All right. And then it talks about the force organizers initiates the changes and the modifications of space force and energy through whom? The power directors. Remember the power directors? These are the guys that control everything, right? All the atoms, everything that gives us who we are, right? Makes materials, okay? And they transmit energy to matter, and that makes what? The worlds as we know it, right? So without all this going on and coming down through all this and through the power directors, no world would ever be created. Make sense? Okay. And then we have the life carriers. Remember the story of the life carriers. The life carriers are the beings that bring the mixture of all the DNA and molecules and everything to start life on a planet. And they either bring it to the planet or they create it right on the planet. On our planet, they created it right on the planet. And what does it do? It takes dead matter. You see that? What happens when we create our own ears and stuff from nothingness? When scientists do that, they take dead matter, incorporate it into living tissue, and then it eventually grows, right? Are they creating life?
No.
No, they're not. It's wrong to even think that. But the life carriers takes this dead matter they're talking about and creates it to a point for material life. And who gives it life?
Infinite Mother Spirit.
Right?
The
He
spark.
gives it the spark of life, right? And it starts, right? Now it goes on to tell us that the Urantia power supervisors, who are the Urantia power supervisors? You could say they're akin to whom? The power directors, right? But they're in the Urantia world. Make sense? Okay. They likewise perform through the transition realms. What's the transition realms? The mansion worlds, right? The transition worlds are the mansion worlds, the constellation worlds, the headquarters worlds. All these worlds we will go through in our career as we climb up to the spiritual life. And these Urantia power supervisors do the same thing during us as we go through these transition realms to make us go from material to what? Spiritual. In between time, right? Okay. And what happens when we get to the spirit world? Then we have the higher spirit creators. It says here, inaugurate a similar process in divine forms of energy for what? Higher spirit forms of life. So all the way through the process, from the material to the Urantia to the spiritual, we have these beings that tweak our material, our Urantia, and eventually our spiritual beings into the circuit of the universe. Make sense? Yeah. Rodney?
And what it sounds like to me is the automaton is at the center of all of it.
Building block for everything.
That's what they manipulate.
Yeah, exactly. Makes sense? That's why it's so important. So important. All right. Let's try to get one more paragraph in here. Who is up here? I think Gary is. Gary, you're up next, I think.
So we're on paragraph energy processes from paradise.
Yeah. Right.
Proceed.
Yeah.
Energy proceeds from paradise, fashioned after the divine order. Energy, pure energy, partakes of the nature of the divine organization. It is fashioned after the similitude of the three gods embraced in one, as they function at the headquarters of the universe of universe. And all force is circulated in paradise.
Circuited. Gary.
Circuit.
All force is circuited in paradise, comes from the paradise presence and returns there too, and is in essence a manifestation of the uncaused cause, the universal Father, and without the Father would not anything exist that does exist.
Okay, so the energy comes from the Trinity, right? It leaves paradise, it goes through all the universes and comes back to paradise. Okay, it's a circuit. Like this big circle goes on and on and on. And without the paradise presence of God the Father, nothing would exist. It's as simple as you could say it, right? All right, let's get another paragraph. We got a couple more minutes here. Letch, would you take the next one for us, please?
Okay. Force derived from self-existent deity is in itself ever existent. Force energy is imperishable, indestructible. These manifestations of the infinite may be subject to unlimited transmutation, endless transformation, and eternal metamorphosis. But in no sense or degree, not even to the slightest imaginable extent, could they ever or ever shall they suffer extinction. But energy, though springing from the infinite, is not infinitely manifest. There are outer limits to the presently conceived master universe.
Oh, energy never goes away. It never dies, does it? It's always remanifested in a new form. And what they're telling us here is even though this is the case, there are limits to the current master conceived universe. In other words, these energies are contained within that area. Let's try to get these last two paragraphs before we get to one whole section. I can't believe this. Jane, would you take the next one, please? Energy is eternal, not infinite.
Energy is eternal, but not infinite. It ever responds to the all-embracing grasp of infinity. Forever, force and energy go on. Having gone out from paradise, they must return thereto, even if age upon age be required for the completion of the ordained circuit. That which is of paradise deity origin can have only a paradise destination or a deity destiny.
So this energy that comes out from paradise always goes back to paradise. That which is from paradise returns to paradise. That which is from God the Father always returns to God the Father. What does that include? The thought
Us.
adjuster.
It
Yes,
also,
us. The
yeah,
thought adjuster, right?
yeah,
That which goes out always returns.
must
Let's get
return.
this. You must return. Let's get this last paragraph and we'll quit for tonight. Diane, would you take the last one for me, please?
And all this confirms our belief in circular, somewhat limited, but orderly and far-flung universe of universes. If this were not true, then evidence of energy depletion at some point would sooner or later appear. All laws, organizations, administration, and the testimony of universe explorers, everything points to the existence of an infinite God, but as yet a finite universe, a circulatory of endless existence, well nigh limitless, but nevertheless finite in contrast with infinity.
Okay,
Okay.
let
Well,
me give you a lot of,
little peek of what they're talking about here. This is an image of paradise. Okay. Actually, this image is wrong because the top and bottom one are backwards. But this is a picture of paradise. And you'll notice at the top, there's this thing going out here. It says space. You see that? On the bottom, there's this thing going out. It says space, right? We know that's exactly opposite. It actually, a space comes out from the bottom and comes in through the top. Okay, it's an error.
Right. I understand.
Okay.
Got right? So this is what they're talking about. Everything that comes out from paradise eventually makes a big circuit and comes back to paradise. Okay. Another example of this is this right here. If you see this picture, this is part of the space respiration pictures. But you'll notice right here in the center, see this little green island?
Yeah.
Okay. That's supposed to represent paradise. And this over here is pervaded space, and that's where we are. Okay. But you'll notice here, this space comes out, it's like a big bubble, and it comes back in the top. Right? Okay. So you can think of it this way. If you're looking at paradise from the side, everything from the unqualified absolute comes out of the bottom, makes it circle through all 7 super universes like a big donut, and then comes back in the top. Both gravity, matter, energy, all the things that make us exist. Make sense?
Yeah.
Makes it a little bit more simple anyway. And we're going to take up number 2, universal non-spiritual energy systems or physical energies next time. Okay. Y'all have any questions before I close for the night? We've got 2 minutes. Make them pass.
I wanted to say that all the information they give us about energy agrees exactly with Einstein's theory of, well, his formula, E equals mc squared, energy equals matter times the velocity of light, which in its simplest form says that matter can be converted into energy, and energy is converted into matter.
Yeah. Mhm.
Energy can be, he says that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So it's proof that it comes from God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it does. Interesting, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
amazing things you can find in this book. It's just never ceases to amaze me, right? And the more I read it, the more things are proven to me logically from this book, you know. And I've been through all the arguments, you know, I've read all the arguments. People say that it's not true and all this other stuff. So, you know, nothing new under the sun. Well, I enjoyed it, y'all. Let's say a little prayer and we'll quit for tonight. Sweetie, would you like to close this in prayer? Let me mute. Oops. There we go.
Dearest Father, Mother God, we thank you so much for this book. Reveals everything we ever could think about or we need to learn and know about everything. And we're just so grateful that it exists. And it's such an honor to be able to study it and to have our minds expanded and our souls impacted by the effect from this book. Our lives have drastically changed for the better, and we are so grateful for it. We're so grateful for this knowledge. It is in your name, Christ Jesus, we pray, give thanks. Amen.
Amen.
You're muted, Roger.